All right, what's up, my sleep-deprived transit peeps? How's everybody feeling this morning? Yes, that's about right. That was like a 6 out of 10, which is what I anticipate maybe you're feeling this morning. But I do want to hear a little bit more, so just manufacture a little bit energy for me. So how are you feeling? Yes. Okay, I went to an 8. Not bad. All right, listen, if I haven't met you yet, my name is Stuart. I'm one of the pastors on staff here at Transit, and we really think that this is the greatest place to be on a Sunday morning. We're so excited to be back here. We're so excited to be back in this room we call the attic. And so if it's your first time, we hope you love it. We hope you come back. We have a blast of a Sunday next Sunday, Double Dog Dare-a-thon. That's going to be awesome. But we've got this one specific thing we wanted to talk to you guys about today. And I get a little like PTSD thinking about one of the moments where I felt this specific issue, and it was on my first day of middle school. Who can remember their first day of middle school? Yes, I know, and some of you are like, I hate it, and it was terrible, and I felt some of that because I'm coming in, and you have all these elementary schools, and then they're all funneling into where I grew up. It was just one middle school that like 6 or 7 elementary schools all went to, so my friends and the people I like to hang out with, I didn't know if I was going to see them or what it was going to be like, or I didn't have like the place where you walk in and where you go and where you sit and where your people are, so I didn't have my place where I felt like I belonged. I didn't know if I was going to find my people who I know I really belonged with and accepted me, and so as my friends, and so I wasn't really sure, and I just remember that feeling. I did not like the feeling of going in and going, gosh, I hope I can find my place. And this is something that maybe it happened to you then, maybe it happens in the lunchroom, maybe it happens going to your first practice or rehearsal, and you're going and you're just kind of hoping like, man, gosh, I have a little bit of doubts, but I hope that I fit in. I hope I belong. And this is something that it's not just you who feels it as a middle school student or like just this stage of life. If you asked your leader who's sitting right next to you, your high school leader or your adult leader, do you also want to fit in? Do you also want to belong? It's a thing that everyone navigates. God actually made us to desire to belong. We all want to belong. This sense of belonging is something that all of us have. It's not just an age thing. It's not just a you thing or your school or your family or your group of friends. This is something that all of us feel deeply. Now, one of the things is there's some places that we go to because we know we belong there, so we feel comfortable. It's almost like you know the lunch table that you go to. Now you know, it's not your first day anymore. Now you know when you walk into school, you know exactly where you're going to go. It's your place where you belong. And in fact, most of you, when it comes to church, when it comes to Brownsbridge Transit, you walk in and you kind of know how to check in at the iPad. You know you're going to enter your number in. And then you're going to walk in, you know where your people sit. It's a little bit more obvious now with the tape squares. But even before the tape squares, you still knew kind of where to congregate because you feel like you belong here. You feel like you're accepted here. But church doesn't always feel that way, and it doesn't feel that way to everybody. And so some people have this view where they think they have to be something, be good enough, belong in some certain group of friends, and they feel on the outside that this place feels foreign to them. And in fact, for some of you, your parents maybe drop you off, or your stepmom drops you off, or your grandmother drops you off, and you maybe still don't quite feel that here. But I want to talk about what does it take to belong here. And I do mean here at Brownsbridge Transit, but I also mean here like in church, where we are helping people learn about faith in Jesus and what it is to be a follower of Jesus. What does it take to belong here? And you know what? Brownsbridge Transit, we don't get to set the standard for that. Jesus sets the standard. Jesus is the one who gets to tell us, hey, here's what it takes to belong here. And so I want to give an example of the way that Jesus, what he chose to do with someone who maybe didn't belong, and hopefully our lives can reflect that. Maybe we can learn what it might take to feel like you belong here, no matter who you are. But I got to ask a question first. It's going to be a throwback for some of you leaders, okay, to a movie from your childhood. And I don't know, students, how many of you have seen this, but do any of you know this character? This is, can anyone tell me? Someone over there said it. This is the Sheriff of Nottingham. And can anyone tell me the movie it's from? Okay, I got a lot. You're looking at me like, doesn't everybody know it? Yes, the Sheriff of Nottingham from Robin Hood. If you haven't seen the OG, the original cartoon Robin Hood, you should totally watch it. This is the Sheriff of Nottingham, and he's the absolute 100% worst. He's terrible. He's the guy that everyone on planet Earth hates. Like 5 minutes into seeing his character in the movie, you already feel like, I don't like this guy. Let me explain why. He works for the king, but he is a tax collector. So he goes around to all the people, which a lot of them, poor people, and he collects their taxes from them. But he doesn't just collect their taxes, he steals from the poor people. He goes and he takes more than they actually owe, and he pockets the rest. This is like the worst person on the planet. If you didn't know about him before, your hatred for him is growing, I imagine. Growing inside of you. You're like, the more you talk about this guy, the more I do actually hate him. He just steals from the poor, takes their taxes, and then he asks for extra from them, and then he pockets it, and so now he's rich from taking from the poor. It's just the worst. Okay, there's a guy who is exactly the Sheriff of Nottingham who walked the earth, actually on planet Earth, when Jesus was around. His name was Zacchaeus. Zacchaeus was a tax collector who always stole more than he was allowed to, and so he was rich because of it. He's just a cheater and a liar and a stealer, and no one likes him. Okay? So I think you get the picture now. Well, about this time, Jesus is gaining in popularity, okay? Everybody's learning about all the miracles that Jesus is doing. It's amazing. He's doing all these crazy miracles. So anytime Jesus comes to a town at this point, everybody kind of wants to see him and meet him and get to know him. And so there's this time where Jesus is coming into this town called Jericho. You can find this in Luke 19. The New Testament goes Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. Those are the four Gospels, and Luke is one of them who gives this gospel account, this account of Jesus' life. So Luke 19, we're getting this report from Luke that here's what happened. Jesus rolled into town, into Jericho, and everybody wanted to see him. But you had all the religious people who kind of, who really belonged. They were trying to follow all the rules and do what was right, and they probably knew that they belonged to come and see who Jesus was. But then you had Zacchaeus, who knew he was hated, knew that he cheated people out of their money, knew that he stole from them, and knew that he didn't belong. But he still wanted to see Jesus. That's the cool thing about Jesus. Jesus is attractive to everyone, not just because of his miracles, but because of the way that he loved everyone. So it's cool because he's attractive to all different types of people. So Zacchaeus wants to see him, but Zacchaeus has a little bit of an issue of why he can't see Jesus. Zacchaeus is short. That's what the Bible tells us. Some of you may have actually heard this song. It goes like this. Zacchaeus was a wee little man, and a wee little man was he. Very good. Thank you, Ashley. That was very good. Yes, and because the Bible actually, we know this from Luke's account, Zacchaeus was like short, right? So everybody's wanting to see Jesus, and they don't even like him anyway. And so he's trying to see Jesus come from the crowd, and he's like, forget it. So he runs over and he climbs up a tree so he can look and see Jesus come by. And that's where we pick up this story in Luke 19. When Jesus came by, he looked up at Zacchaeus and called him by name. This in itself must have been a shock. Zacchaeus must have been like, wait, I was just coming to see this guy doing the miracles. He looks right at him and he says his name. Hey, Zacchaeus. Now, Zacchaeus, his jaw must have just dropped in this moment and thought, oh no. He's going to call me out. I'm going to get punished. He's the one. In fact, Jesus knows everything anyway because he's God's son. He's like God in an actual human body. So he probably knows all that I've done wrong, especially if he actually knows my name. So I'm in big trouble. I would imagine his heart started beating out of his short chest. Okay. I don't know why I said that. Zacchaeus, he said, quick, come down. I must be a guest in your home today. This just must have been the biggest shock of Zacchaeus' life. The one who is always loving, always kind, who the people are coming to see. He has lived the complete opposite life, made every wrong decision, been not kind, the opposite of kind from everyone. And Jesus looks at him, calls him by name, and now says, hey, you belong. I accept you just as you are with everything that you've done. I know your name, and I still want to come be a guest at your home today. This must have been a shock to him, and it was definitely a shock to the religious crowd who are going, wait, we're the ones who deserve to come be a part of this. But Jesus is giving you and I a picture of how we can see other people in our lives. So here's what happens next. Zacchaeus quickly climbed down, I would too, and took Jesus to his house in great excitement and joy. Of course he was feeling excitement and joy. He thought Jesus was probably going to reprimand him and call him out in front of the crowd and maybe try and, I don't know what he would make him do to punish him, but instead he just asked him to hang out and go hang out at his house. So of course he's feeling nothing but excitement and joy in this moment. Must be shocked, unbelievable. But the people, everyone else, were displeased. Like, wait a second. They said, he has gone to be the guest of a notorious sinner. They grumbled. You've got this comparison of Zacchaeus just being shocked that Jesus would accept him just as he was. And then you have this crowd who thought, well, I thought we were the ones, like we were the in crowd. We were the one who should be invited over for dinner. And their response is grumbling. And so you see three different things. You see what Jesus has done, Zacchaeus' response, and then everybody else's negative response, their displeasure, their grumbling. But I want all of us to see not just what Jesus did, the standard that Jesus set for when somebody new, when somebody who probably doesn't belong steps into the picture, how to respond and accept them. We also get to see what happened as a result of that invitation. So check this out. This is awesome. Meanwhile, Zacchaeus stood before the Lord and said, I will give half my wealth to the poor, Lord, and if I've cheated people on their taxes, I will give them back 4 times as much. This one invitation, this one Jesus going, hey, it's okay. My love for you and my acceptance of you is not based on what you've done or who you are or where you come from or what you're dressed like or who your friends are or anything you've done in the past. I want to accept you no matter what. This is the most amazing picture, and in that moment, Zacchaeus completely changes. Seriously, he's not just giving back what he's cheated from them. He's going to give them 4 times as much. That is crazy. And not only 4 times as much, after that, he's still got a lot of wealth, and he's going to get half of that away. You see, this acceptance, this belonging that all of us long for when we realize that the creator of the universe loves us and accepts us no matter what, it changes us. And Jesus is the one that launched the church. Jesus knew that Browns Bridge Transit, that every one of you would be sitting here right now, and he wants you to know that he has the same response to you and to anybody who you may invite in here, and to any of you who are here for the first time. Our response is the same as Jesus' response. You belong. We've accepted you no matter what. See, belonging and acceptance changes people. There's power in it, especially when it comes from the creator of the universe. It's everything that matters, but what's cool is that you and I get to be a picture of that. You and I get to be a picture of God's love and acceptance to the people around us. So I really want to ask you guys this question. When someone new shows up, will you help? Will you help make sure they know they belong? Would you be willing to go, hey, if I'm going to follow Jesus, that means that I'm going to try and live like him and love like him. And this example of this response to Zacchaeus, we can either stand over here like the crowd and grumble when someone new shows up, or we can just not help them belong. But I'm saying, will you and I, will we actually respond like Jesus, and will you help? Will we help everyone know that they belong? Yes, at school, yes, at the lunch table, but especially here as people come new, because here's what's going to happen. 1 week from now, every single one of you is going to have the opportunity to love like Jesus loved, to accept someone new like Jesus accepted, because Double Dog Dare-a-thon is next Sunday, and a lot of you have actually already invited a friend to come, a friend who maybe has never stepped foot inside our church or any church, and they're coming over to your house next Saturday night, and then they're coming to church tomorrow morning. And I want you to know that the person on your left and the person on your right all heard this message today. We have the opportunity to accept someone who maybe has not stepped foot into church and they're not sure if they belong, that we get to love them like Jesus did and accept them, which is pretty cool. And that's next Sunday. And maybe some of you actually have thought about inviting one of your friends, but you realize, I don't know if they're church people. I don't know if they would say yes. Maybe you're nervous about how they would feel here. Well, now you know. We're going to respond like Jesus responded to Zacchaeus. We're going to say, come on, it's awesome. It's going to be next Sunday is going to be awesome. And we get to be Jesus in their lives as someone new steps foot into Browns Ridge, into your small group for the first time. And that'll be cool. You have this opportunity every day, but definitely we're all going to get the opportunity to live this out this week and next Sunday. All right, I'm going to pray for us, and then I'm going to send you guys to small group with one question to think about as you're heading. God, thank you for the picture of love. Thank you for this picture that reminds us that you accepted us, just as broken as we are, just as many mistakes as we've made. Sometimes when we don't feel like we belong, God, you're just there going, no, I love you and I accept you. And I forgive you for all of those wrongs. And you're accepted. God, that we would get to see others the way that you see us and live out this example of what it is to be accepting, to help someone know that they belong. In Jesus' name, amen.